It was supposed to be a joke. My friend dared me to do it at her sleepover. The whole go in the bathroom and say it 13 times thing in the dark. I laughed. I didn't believe it. But somewhere around the 7th or 8th time, something in the room changed. I felt it. Something there, heavy, in my arms. I tried to open the door to leave, but it wouldn't budge. When I looked back in the mirror, I wasn't alone. Hey guys, and welcome back to another episode of Scary Stories That Will Make You Scream. I'm your host, Nicki Baber, and in this month's series, we're going to be talking about some of those scary games that you should probably never play. Each week, we dive into these urban legends, scary stories, things that are only whispered about. Some are silly, some are harmless, and some you definitely shouldn't try. And today's episode is one of those that you definitely shouldn't try. This is the legend and ritual of Blue Baby, Baby Blue. It's a mirror ritual that cradles fear and something else. By the end of this episode, you'll know all about the game and how to play, but I'll let you decide if you should. Long before Blue Baby and even Bloody Mary, there were mirror rituals, so let's talk about those before we get into the actual game. Mirrors have been seen as portals, windows into the other worlds, or even as an invitation. Mirrors are not harmless, and they never were. For thousands of years, in almost every single culture, mirrors have a reputation of being more than just glass. They were gateways, traps, warnings. In ancient Greece, mirrors weren't just for vanity, they were for prophecy. Priests and oracles would lower polished metal mirrors into pools of water, hoping to catch glimpses of the future. Now they call that scrying. But they actually believed that you weren't seeing the future, or weren't just seeing the future, they thought you were touching it, interacting with something that was not meant for mortal eyes. And I think that's where some of the superstition around magic and scrying comes from. Now, in Chinese culture, mirrors were thought to ward off evil spirits. You could hang one above your door facing outward and it would bounce back evil spirits. But if you placed one facing your bed at night, you might just get sucked into it. Victorian England has their own superstitions. Whenever someone died, they would cover all mirrors in the house immediately. If a soul saw its own reflection before passing to the next world, it could become trapped inside the glass. Even today in modern horror, mirrors are almost always the first thing to turn against you. Think about all the horror movies you've watched and how they use mirrors. There's even a really good horror movie called Oculus. It's about a haunted mirror. It's one of my favorite horror movies ever. Imagine you're sitting in front of a mirror, but you're facing the other direction, and something moves behind you. Your reflection doesn't quite sit with you. Shadows cross around it while no one else is home. Mirrors don't just show you what's in the world around you, but they hint at what we can't see. Every legend of Baby Blue Blue Baby starts the exact same way. A dare, a dark bathroom, and a mirror. You step inside, you lock the door. You hold your arms out like you're rocking a baby and you start to chant. At first, there's nothing, just your own breathing. Maybe the sound of the house settling. But then, the temperature drops. The mirror seems wrong and you feel a weight, a cold weight. If you panic and you drop it, that's where the real horror begins. Because Baby Blue's mother is waiting and she is furious. Now, Baby Blue isn't just some internet creepy pasta. The roots of this game actually dig a lot deeper into things like guilt, grief, and loss. One version says a young woman gave birth alone. Terrified, she ended her baby's life and buried the body behind a mirror in her home. When the authorities finally found her, she was cradling something invisible, singing to it, rocking it. Some claim you could hear a faint baby's cry coming from the mirror long after she was taken away. And another story, that Baby Blue is the child of Bloody Mary herself. You know, a cursed spirit. I mean, if you haven't heard of Bloody Mary, where have you been? But if you haven't heard it, we will be doing an episode this month on Bloody Mary, so stay tuned for that. Either way, the warning is clear. Don't summon Baby Blue's mother. Of course, not everyone believes in mirror portals. Science has some answers for this too. There's this thing called strange face illusion, where if you stare at yourself in low light for long enough, your face starts to distort. It's actually your mind desperately trying to fill in what it can't see, and it gets kind of confused. So a lot of people think, you know, Bloody Mary or Blue Baby or anything in mirrors and darkness is just kind of our mind playing tricks on us. And then, you know, you're chanting, you're thinking scary thoughts, and that can also trigger chills and things and weird feelings. You might not actually be cold, you might just be getting chills because you're scaring yourself. Of course, that doesn't explain the stories where people ask for Bloody Mary to come and then they're covered with scratches on their backs. And there's some terrifying stories about Blue Baby, Baby Blue also. Now I have some real stories I'm gonna tell you about that might seem brave or might seem foolish. You'll have to let me know. When I did Baby Blue, I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing until I couldn't breathe. The weight in my arms got heavier and heavier until it dropped. And that night, my bathroom mirror cracked from the inside. So I feel like that's something that like science can't explain. Why would the mirror crack from doing it? It could be coincidence, I guess, but it just seems a little odd to me. Now, story number 2 is my cousin tried it. And guys, these are submitted stories, so make sure to check my YouTube community tab because you can add your stories there and then you might get featured on the podcast. So my cousin tried it. At first, nothing happened. But for a week afterward, he kept hearing a baby crying, just faintly, like it was coming from under his floorboards. That is so creepy. Story number 3. I never played it, but my best friend did. 2 days later, she swore she saw a woman standing at the end of her hallway holding an empty baby basket. You know, it's stories like these that, is it mass hysteria? Or especially the cracked mirror one, the ones like that always get me, or scratches on people, because those things, like, I just can't explain it. I can't debunk those. But the ones where like, oh, they saw something, okay, they could be lying. Or my cousin's sister's brother said this, you know, his stories change. But the stuff like, I literally saw a mirror crack in front of me is crazy. Here's how the Baby Blue ritual goes. Number 1, you find a bathroom with a mirror. Number 2, you turn off all the lights in complete darkness. Number 3, you close and lock the door behind you. Number 4, you face a mirror and hold your arms out as if you're creating an invisible baby. Number 6, you're going to start chanting, Baby Blue, Blue Baby, exactly 13 times. And then you wait. Now, if you do it correctly, you're supposed to feel the coldness. And then the weight settle into your arms. And you might hear a fainting cry. And then the weight is supposed to slowly become unbearable. And if it starts clawing at you, you drop it. Drop it immediately. Actually, some stories even say that you should flush it down the toilet. Now, if you start seeing the lady, everyone says you should run because she's out to get you for dropping her baby. Now, Baby Blue is simple. It's a game of mirrors and darkness, and it's mostly joking. There's no candles, no spell books. Some of these games get really intense, or they call them games, but sometimes it's like they're rituals. Some of them get really, really intense. But this one's easy. It's just you and a mirror and what's on the other side. Maybe it's all in your head and maybe it's not. That's the real game though, isn't it? For me, I've never played Baby Blue, Blue Baby. I don't know if I should. Would you? You guys, let me know. I'll actually have a poll up. Let me know if you guys would play Baby Blue, Blue Baby. Because, you know, I was never a fan of like Bloody Mary and games like that. They always scared me so bad as a kid. And it's weird because as a kid, I wasn't scared of werewolves or vampires or anything like that. But I was definitely scared of Bloody Mary. And I did not want to play that game. I think it's mostly because, you know, I grew up in a haunted house. So I knew that these ghosts and ghouls and legends were real, because I'd seen them with my own eyes. But for those of you who've never had a paranormal experience, is this something that you might try? I feel like this was such a short episode. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening to scary stories that will make you scream. This is the series Don't Play Scary Games, and you know you shouldn't. Next week, get ready, because we're not just playing a game. We're being hunted. We're going to be talking about the scary game called the Can You Hide game, and it's one you might not survive. Hey, real quick before you go, guys, if you have a scary story or scary ritual that you would like to share, feel free to DM me on Instagram. I read all the messages and I love hearing from you guys. You can also tell me whether or not you want that story shared. So if you want me to share it on the podcast, go ahead and put that in your message. And if it's just between you and me, you can say that too. For those of you who don't have my Instagram, it's just at Nicki, at Nicki. Until then, lock your doors and turn your mirrors to face the wall. And if you hear a baby crying tonight, you didn't hear it from me.